The war in Ukraine resulted in millions of Ukrainians homeless and fled to neighboring countries, and most of them escaped to Poland in the west. For the time being, the sky over Ukraine is totally overwhelmed by Russia. And so Ukraine asked American and NATO for help in no-fly zone. And Russia says it would be regarded as declaring war to Russia if someone helps Ukraine for a no-fly zone. Ukraine's limited air forces was almost destroyed by Russia in the first round of strike, and very few aircraft was left. Ukraine asked the Western countries for assistance in providing fighters. It is reported, and in Poland, that still has 28 old-fashioned MiG-29s, which were given by Germany in 2004, each aircraft for only €1 as a symbol. America and NATO hope Poland can give this MiG-29 to Ukraine, and then give back later the same amount and more advanced F-16s to Poland. Poland says it has no objection to this idea, yet expresses its concerns by giving directly the crafts to Ukraine. It might be some excuse for Russia and big troubles later for Poland itself. So Poland suggests that it sends the MiG-29s to Germany first and deliver to Americans and NATO's military bases in Germany, and then NATO transfers them to Ukraine. America and NATO believe that this way will be very dangerous, and they don't hope to be involved in the war, and denied the suggestion immediately. Poland didn't choose the way to confront Russia face to face, and it was a very smart choice, and also based on the painful lessons from history. So today, by the issue of Ukraine crisis, we talk about Poland. Now, Poland and Ukraine are close neighbors. They connect and engage deeply in many ways. And they both are Slavs, once in the same country, and both had been controlled and ruled by Russia in history. Poland lives in Central Europe, with its north as Baltic Sea and Lithuania. The east is Belarus and Ukraine. The south is Czech and Slovakia. The west is Germany, with its size about 320,000 square kilometers and a population of 38 million. In history, it is about in the year of 960 that Poland became a unified nation from different tribes. The son was baptized as a Catholic, and in 1025, Poland had its first king. In Poland's early history, it has several centuries of great times. For example, it succeeded in fighting against the expansion of the kingdom of Golden Horde of Mongol Empire in the east. And in 1410, under its leadership, the Slavs defeated the Teutonic Knights, led by Germans, French, and Swiss in the west. In 1569, Poland and Lithuania, they combined and established the first Poland Republic. And with its territory extended to over 1 million square kilometers, 3 to 4 times larger than today's size of Poland. At that time, it overwhelmed Russia and besieged Moscow, occupied and ruled over large areas of current Belarus and Ukraine. Yet at the same, the extreme easily goes to its opposite, and the highest is the point of decline. The Poland began its decay since its golden times. Externally, in the east, rising the aggressive Russian Empire. In the north, then it was the Kingdom of Sweden. In the west, the belligerent Kingdom of Prussia, the ancestor of Germany. In the south were the old empires of Austria-Hungary and Ottoman Turkey. Poland was surrounded by strong enemies. Internally, the Polish leaders were ignorant of the perils they faced. The one-ticket veto rule in their so-called patriotic democracy made the Polish lose control and away from a strong central government. And since then, the adverse fate came to Poland with 3 partitions and finally disappeared for 123 years. In 1772, Russia, Prussia, and Austria divided Poland, and it lost 1/3 of its land and people. In 1793, Russia and Prussia divided Poland for the second time, and it was left with only 200,000 square kilometers and 4 million people. In 1795, Russia, Prussia, and Austria did the partition for the 3rd time, and Poland was completely wiped out. This country, big country of Poland, with 800 years of history, instantly came to be no more. And for its national restoration, it will take 123 years until the year of 1918, the end of the First World War. In November 1918, Poland established the Second Republic and hoped to restore the territory to that year in 1772, and soon engaged in a war with Soviet Russia in the east for border issues. And Poland controlled again the lands in west of Belarus and Ukraine. And with the rise of the Hitler's Nazi Germany in the west, Poland was under the shadow of war once again. And yet Poland put all its hopes upon Britain and France in the west. They believed that they would not abandon it, nor tolerate Germany invade Poland. Yet soon, Poland was let down. In September 1939, Germany and the Soviet invaded Poland at the same time from the west and the east. London and Paris only orally declared a war on Germany, yet in fact nothing done until Poland's being destroyed. On this point, it was very similar to the situation in Ukraine. And America and NATO speak louder, yet act less, strongly condemning Russia, yet absolutely keeping away from the troubles. In August 1944, the Second World War almost came to its end. Germany doomed, and the Soviet Red Army began to fight back and push forward to Poland's capital Warsaw. And the Polish hoped to free themselves before the Soviet. So they took the Warsaw Uprising, and with the 50,000 underground army, the fight against the 25,000 German troops in Warsaw. The Soviets' million army stopped moving on, waiting and seeing the Germans and the Polish kill each other. The Warsaw Uprising insisted for 2 months and finally failed and surrendered. Nazi Germany retaliated and almost demolished and bulldozed the whole city of Warsaw. The Soviet Red Army took the chance and moved westward, occupied Poland, and attacked into Germany. And after the Second World War, under the help of the Soviet, Poland established its People's Republic, and its territory moved westward about 200 kilometers into Germany. In 1955, in Poland, the Soviet and other socialist countries established a Warsaw Treaty Organization, confronting America and NATO in the West. During the Cold War, in the city of Warsaw, China and America held continue for the routine ambassadorial level talks. In December 1969, When China and the Soviet relations intensified, under the instruction of President Nixon, the National Security Advisor Kissinger, the U.S. ambassador to Poland, John Stossel Jr., tried to approach Chinese diplomats in Poland to express U.S. intentions to improve relations with China. This incident happened a little bit abruptly, which made the Chinese diplomats very nervous and vigilant, wondering what the hell the Americans wanted to do. In 1971, during Kissinger's secret tour to China, Chinese Premier Zhou Enlai mentioned this story to him and said, "Your ambassador did a rush in a hurry and made our diplomats almost suffer from a heart attack." Kissinger laughed after hearing the story. In 1990, with great upheavals in Europe and the Soviet collapse, Poland established the Third Republic. Lech Walesa and his Workers' Union of Solidarity got more influential, and the former United Workers' Party, with 3 million members, lost power. In 1999, Poland joined NATO, and in 2004, joined the European Union. In Poland, there are several world-famous great figures that we are familiar with. The pianist and composer Chopin, the astronomer Nicholas Copernicus, and the scientist Marie Curie, Vatican Pope St. Paul II, the former U.S. National Security Advisor Brzezinski, who promoted Sino-U.S. normalization. And there is also a place that almost everyone hears about, the Auschwitz concentration camp, where Nazi Germany imprisoned and slaughtered Jews in the Second World War. Poland and Ukraine had some bad times with Russia in history. And luckily, Poland had joined NATO and its security can be guaranteed. And Russia will not treat Poland as in the same way to Ukraine today. For the article of collective security still works. Right now, Ukraine is knocking at the door of NATO again and again. Yet NATO will not open it easily in case of big troubles with Russia. Finally, Ukraine realizes the reality that it has to stand outside of NATO. If neutral policy taken and its security guaranteed, then it is still a good option for Switzerland, Austria, Sweden, and Finland all carry out neutrality, and their people enjoy life, the country enjoy peace, and while Ukraine cannot follow their way to be neutral. So Poland doesn't have to worry about its safety in war, for America and NATO are supposed to provide assistance. Even so, the peace is still a top priority, and war should be avoided. For in the war, sometimes there is no winner, only great losses to both sides. For in the war, so many people might lose their lives, and so many sweet homes might be demolished. Then what's the purpose to the war? The Polish people should never forget their rise and fall and their 3 petitions, and other people should also learn some lessons from it to prevent the similar history of misery to happen again. And thank you all, and see you next time.